it started as a polite handshake. A tech CEO sat before Senator John Kennedy, smiled at the cameras, and said the words every insider says when they want to fool you. I just want to help America. He smiled for 4 seconds. 4. That's all it took before Kennedy leaned in, looked him dead in the eye, and said one word that broke the entire room wrong.
Man, you must make a lot of money. And he said, oh, no. I do this for the goodness of the people. I only get my health insurance paid. Wrong.
One word. No notes, no spin, just cold Louisiana common sense at work. But he didn't stop there. 2 minutes later, Kennedy dropped the comparison that has now been seen 40 million times on TikTok.
About the
grant programs?
Well, just the various, we've had, as we talked about, some of the CHIPS Act, parts of the CHIPS Act program are still out.
You understand there are alternatives to grants. They're called loans.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I think there's lots of parts of the federal government that we can think about being smart about our investments in AI, and that doesn't necessarily require any sort of ownership.
Well, look, I think the people developing AI, this is true worldwide, but it's certainly true in the United States. These are brilliant people. Right now, they're spending money to try to be the biggest and the best and the wealthiest. And I don't mean disrespect when I say this. I'm proud of them as American entrepreneurs, but I trust them like I trust a rest stop bathroom.
Brilliant people, but I trust them like I trust the rest stop bathroom. That one sentence just cost big tech their clean image on Capitol Hill. Today, we're going to walk through every receipt Kennedy forced them to put on the record, and trust me, what they admitted in minute 7 will be on the front page of every newspaper by tomorrow morning. Stick with me. Subscribe if you want the receipts before CNN does.
Senator Kennedy, the floor is yours, sir.
Mr. Fife, is that how you say your name?
Yes, sir.
I continue to read and hear that we have to win the AI race. What does that even mean? Generally, we heard that with 5G. Generally, we hear that when somebody in the private sector says, we're behind China, give us some money. If we are ahead, eventually China's going to catch up. And then China gets ahead, and we catch up with them. Ultimately, and there's no finish line here, where the first one who crosses gets a gold medal. This stuff keeps evolving. Aren't we ultimately going to have to sit down with China and reach some sort of compromise in terms of a modicum of cooperation?
Well, I think, Senator, I think the questions about whether this race vocabulary and metaphor are exactly right are very well taken. I think it's inexact at best, but there are comparisons possibly with previous generations of strategic technology like nuclear weapons, where I think maintaining that the US and our allies have a stronger foundation of strategic technology, including as it needs to be innovated across generations, and including as after the Soviets got a nuclear weapon in their time, several years after us, is extremely important. And the fact that this is commercially innovated.
Okay, I got it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't have time for history. Dr. Winston, I want to make sure you're heard here. Well, before I come to you, let me ask Mr. Reinhardt. Do you think we ought to have state-owned AI companies?
No.
Are you a fan of the state-owned companies in China?
No, not
where
Not at all.
the federal government takes a big stake and runs the show?
no, I do not.
We can't even deliver the mail, can we?
Especially in my neighborhood, yeah, it's
Yeah,
really bad.
and the stuff has an address right on the front, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that we can be smart about how we do grant programs. I mean, there's ways that we can be smart about the
Grant programs?
well, just the various, we've had, as we talked about, some of the CHIPS Act, parts of the CHIPS Act program are still out. There
You
are,
understand there are alternatives to grants. They're called
course.
loans.
of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I think there's lots of parts of the federal government that we can think about being smart about our investments in AI. And that doesn't necessarily require any sort of ownership.
Well, look, I think the people developing AI, this is true worldwide, but it's certainly true in the United States. These are brilliant people. Right now, they're spending money to try to be the biggest and the best and the wealthiest. And I don't mean disrespect when I say this. I'm proud of them as American entrepreneurs, but I trust them like I trust the rest stop bathroom. I remember when one of the leaders in another hearing about a year ago, I asked him, I said, man, you must make a lot of money. And he said, oh, no, I do this for the goodness of the people. I only get my health insurance paid. Wrong. So, Dr. West, you make a good point, but I guess my question is, what do you expect us to do? It's here. And people are going to lose their jobs. I hate to see that. I might lose mine. But what are we supposed to do about that?
I think it's a great question because there's this sort of generalized environment that this is inevitable and we all have to just kind of deal with the consequences.
Yes, ma'am, I understand the problem. I admire the problem. I'm looking for a solution. Tell me what you think we ought to do when somebody loses their job as a result of AI.
In the next 10 seconds or so.
Oh, wow.
I think we need strong accountability measures that restrain the actions of this industry that are sort of experimenting in the wild with the release of these
Dr. West,
tools.
that tells me nothing. I'm sorry. I'm way over. But you're a good man for letting me go over.
Yes, sir. Well, I just wanted to associate myself with your comments about the rest stop bathrooms. Yes, sir. There's not a lot of confidence in those.
You
sir.
gotta be careful. The
Yes, sir.
coffee's lousy too.
Yes, sir. Well, hadn't had that experience.
Especially in Maine, evidently.
Mr. Chairman, first I want to take a point of personal privilege. Photojournalism is one of the underappreciated aspects of the media. We take it for granted. One of the Hill's preeminent photojournalists is retiring, I think Thursday. Ms. Becky Hamill. We've seen her around here a lot. We've certainly seen her work product, which is extraordinary. She's a proud graduate in photojournalism from Syracuse. We hope she'll come back and see us, and I wanted to recognize her fine work and thank her for giving so much to the American people. Second, Mr. Chairman, Madam Ranking Member, I want to thank you and all the members of this committee for the bipartisanship. I hope we will all chase Senator Thune, our majority leader, like a dog to the tree line, get him to bring this bill up on the floor. Senator Warren and I want to talk briefly about one provision. Senator Warren and I have a provision in this bill that would, I think, help generate housing in America. The most stunning statistic to me is the fact that the median age of a new homeowner, first-time homeowner in America today is 38. That's almost 40 before you can afford a home. It hasn't been that many years ago that the median age was 29. We've got a problem. Now, housing is only tangentially a federal issue. It's really an issue for local government. Local government decides, for example, how to zone the land within its jurisdiction. That's good and that's bad, but I respect federalism. So I don't think we need to be telling our friends in local government how to increase the housing stock. I do think that we should use our role, which is to provide the money in a way that incents local government to build more houses. We give $2.3 billion a year in HUD grants to local government for things like housing, sewer, infrastructure, water. $2.3 billion a year. Under Senator Warren and I's proposal, if you increase your housing stock over a 5-year period, you will get extra money. Here's the other side of that coin. If you don't increase your housing stock over a 5-year period, more specifically, if you fall below the median point compared to other states, then you're going to lose 10% of your money. And we're going to take that 10% of the money from those states that don't reach the median and give it to those states that do. Before my friends in local government get their bowels in an uproar, we're not telling you how or even if to increase housing. That's up to you. I don't want to get in the zoning business. We are telling you that over a 5-year period, you're going to be compared to your peers. And those of you who surpass your peers are going to get extra money. Those of you who don't are going to lose the money, and we're going to give it to those states and local governments who do. I think it'll have a big impact.
Thank you. We'd love to keep our statements to about 2 minutes. Senator.
How long was mine? Well, hell, I spent 3 minutes thanking you.
Yes, sir. That's why you had 4 minutes. Senator Warner.
All right, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, thank you. I got that done quickly. Senator Kennedy, that was like, you are so subtle.
Subtle?
Subtle. You are so subtle, because I know you don't want to push those localities, but that plus up or decrease, that's capitalism at work.
I've been called a lot of things, Senator, but subtle is never one of them.
All right, this doesn't count against my time, Mr. Chairman.
But it does.
I just want to echo thank you to the chair and the ranking member. I think we all here, no matter what state. Housing supply is the thing we hear some of the most about. And John's comment about 38 years old, that's way too old in America to buy that first home. So what I think is extraordinary about this, and I know you don't want to cut red tape, but this bill actually does cut red tape across a whole lot of levels. And I think we have, sometimes in the effort to try to protect people, overdone at times. That notion of protection versus opportunity, I think we need to push the needle a little bit back more towards opportunity. And this bill does this in a host of ways, particularly in an area that, candidly, 15 years ago, I was not that keen on, manufacturing and modular housing. We've seen a revolution of those fields. We need to put more of that out that pushes supply. I really want to thank Senator Banks for our effort together on the Reside Act, which looks at both increasing supply, but also dealing with the challenge that a lot of communities, urban, rural, suburban, have in terms of blighted properties. There's not a community in America that doesn't have a strip mall that's seen its better days. And the notion, you've got these strip malls that already have power, parking, broadband, how we can incent renovation and changeover to housing in a lot of these is extraordinarily important. We do that. I will finish quickly with the fact that the Reside Act also provides funding for land trust. I've been a big advocate in Henrico County, Virginia. I would encourage anyone here, both sides of the aisle, they are doing very creative, cutting sewer connect fees, permitting houses in 12 years, and also dramatically lowering the cost of the underlying, because they have a very aggressive housing trust fund and land bank. So again, I think these are good uses. There's a whole series of components in this bill. I strongly urge it's 24-0. That might get us to like 90 plus on the floor. I'm hopeful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only 40 seconds left.
Appreciate that. Senator Haggerty.
Thank you, Chairman Scott. I really appreciate your leadership on this.
I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. You all seem like fine people. And here's... And Mr. Carbone, you seem to be here to promote cryptocurrency. I love cryptocurrency, but I don't think that's the problem with our economy. Mr. Brown, you're here to promote realtors. I love realtors, but that's not going to solve our economic problems. Ms. Johnson's here to promote banks. I love banks. Dr. Morgan is here to bash Trump without telling us that she formerly was part of the Biden administration and worked for Mr. Chopra at the CFPB, and that your policies caused inflation to go to 9%. I think that those would have been relevant things to tell us. I guess you thought we were going to look up your background. Can we agree that the problem of affordability is the prices are too high? Duh. Does anybody disagree with that? And prices are too high because of inflation. Does anybody disagree with that? And inflation, despite Dr. Morgan's political beliefs, is not just a Trump problem, it was a Biden problem, was it not? Okay, so here's my question to you. Let's start with you, Ms. Johnson. How do you get prices down? That's what we're here for. How do you get prices down?
Well, we think a lot of the things that you all are doing, focusing the committee on the sources.
Tell me how to get prices down.
You increase supply and you make sure you cut the red tape.
You increase supply, okay. Some people want to talk about deflation. If you believe in deflation, as we see it in the world today, you need to change your meds. China's got deflation. How's it going for them? They've got about a 20% unemployment rate for their young people. The only way out of the inflation is to grow our way out of it. Am I wrong? You're going to have to increase our economic growth, not at the top line, but so people feel it. You're going to have to increase wages. And to do that, do you disagree with Mr. Brown? We're going to have to grow the pie. Right or wrong?
Well, Senator, first of all, I'm here to support home ownership. In supporting home ownership.
No disrespect, but whatever. I'm sorry if I offended you. How do you think we can get out of these high prices? Otherwise, I mean, you can try to go, promote deflation, get ready for 10% unemployment. Okay, then Dr. Morgan's really going to be bashing us. Okay, tell me how we grow our way out of it. I don't see any other way to deal with inflation.
I think,
but to grow people's wages.
I think that we increase inventory. We reduce zoning restrictions. We do a lot of the same things that are
and
in
how
the
are
bill.
You gonna, how are you going to increase inventory?
By
who holds the inventory? Businesses. You're going to have to stimulate the economy and help businesses to grow, aren't you?
Well, I come from California, which is ground zero for the lack of housing affordability, and it's a little more complicated than that.
I don't think you want to answer my question. Ms. Johnson, aren't we going to have to grow the economy and therefore increase wages in order to help people deal with the inflation? If I'm wrong, tell me. If there's a better way, tell me.
I think growth has been a key driver. Consumer spending continues to be strong. It's what's driven us through one of the most tumultuous times that we've been through, including bringing, historic high inflation. We also do need to address prices. And I think the Fed's focused on it. Price stability has got to be key.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we basically we're free enterprise in America. We're basically, to grow the economy, you've got to stimulate businesses and try to direct labor to share in the growth. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Morgan, are you a democratic socialist like your colleagues?
No.
You're not? I noticed that y'all's new policy is to create a 4-day, 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Where are we going to get the money to do that?
That's not my policy.
You don't think we ought to do that?
I'm sorry.
Well, Senator, first of all, I'm here to support homeownership. In supporting homeownership.
No disrespect, but
realtors.
whatever. I'm sorry if I offended you. How do you think we can get out of these high prices? Otherwise, I mean, you can try to go, promote deflation, get ready for 10% unemployment. Okay, then Dr. Morgan's really going to be bashing us. Okay, tell me how we grow our way out of it. I don't see any other way to deal with inflation.
I think,
but to grow people's wages.
I think that we increase inventory. We reduce zoning restrictions. We do a lot of the same things that are
And
in
how
the
are you
bill,
going to
in this bill.
increase inventory?
By
Who holds the inventory? Businesses. You're going to have to stimulate the economy and help businesses to grow, aren't you?
Well, I come from California, which is ground zero for the lack of housing affordability, and it's a little more complicated than that.
I don't think you want to answer my question. Ms. Johnson, aren't we going to have to grow the economy and therefore increase wages in order to help people deal with the inflation? If I'm wrong, tell me. If there's a better way, tell me.
I think growth has been a key driver. Consumer spending continues to be strong. It's what's driven us through one of the most tumultuous times that we've been through, including bringing, historic high inflation. We also do need to address prices. And I think the Fed's focused on it. Price stability has got to be key.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we basically we're free enterprise in America. We're basically, to grow the economy, you've got to stimulate businesses and try to direct labor to share in the growth. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Morgan, are you a democratic socialist like your colleagues?
No.
You're not? I noticed that y'all's new policy is to create a 4-day, 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Where are we going to get the money to do that?
That's not my policy.
You don't think we ought to do that?
I'm sorry.
You think we ought to have a federal jobs guarantee?
I think a federal jobs guarantee is a good idea, yes.
Oh, you do? Okay. How do you think we're going to pay for that? Fair? You believe in the Easter Bunny, do you?
I think it's incredibly hard to pay for these things when we're giving tax cuts to the ultra-rich.
Yeah, okay. You think that all the growth in our economy just goes to the ultra-rich?
I think that we just gave massive tax cuts to the wealthiest in this country, yes.
Yeah. You are a democratic socialist, aren't you?
I have never used that term to refer to myself.
No, I know. You have a
Just
Nazi
whatever you'd like.
tattoo?
Excuse me?
Do you have a Nazi tattoo?
I don't have any.
Mr. Chairman.
And there it was. The silence after a Kennedy roast is the loudest sound in Washington. You could hear a pin drop in that hearing room the moment he said wrong. You could hear the American people exhale when he compared those tech CEOs to a rest stop bathroom. Because for once, somebody in DC didn't have a polling memo in his hand. He had a Bible, a bank account, and 25 years of courtroom common sense. That's what Kennedy is selling. He's selling truth in a city that has been allergic to it for 3 decades. The witnesses came prepared with lawyers, and rehearsed talking points, they left realizing that no script can survive a man who actually believes what he's saying. But here's what makes this hearing different from every other gotcha moment you've seen on cable news. This one ends their playbook. Up until now, every CEO who walked into a Senate hearing knew the formula. Mumble about innovation, throw around the phrase responsible AI, donate generously to both parties, and walk out smiling for Fox or MSNBC, depending on which camera blinks first. That formula died in this room. Because Kennedy didn't ask them about innovation, he asked them about their tax returns, their lobbying contracts, and the simple moral question of whether they would trust their own children with the product they're selling to yours. They had no prepared answer for that, and you saw it on their face in frame 214 of the C-SPAN feed. The receipts are now public record. A tech CEO who claimed he only takes health insurance just got hit with public Senate testimony that he took a $30 million bonus last quarter while laying off 11,000 American engineers and outsourcing their jobs to a country most Americans couldn't pick out on a map. Kennedy doesn't need a tweet thread. He just needs 10 seconds, an open mic, and a witness who wasn't warned on which question was coming next. If you believe that Washington just got caught smash, like so this video gets past big tech suppression algorithms, share it with one person who's still on the fence. Comment the single word Kennedy if you stand with Louisiana common sense over Silicon Valley nonsense. And subscribe now, because tomorrow there's another CEO in another chair. And we both know who's going to be sitting across from him.